Alright, so Nursery Cryme. Gotta say, it kind of starts out a little too low and slow for me with Musical Box. Other than that, I find this album to be really solid and musically and sonically very palatable for the most part. I am not sure where I'm at with the Trespass versus Nursery Cryme debate that I set for myself last week. I guess I would have to give the edge to Trespass, actually. Maybe they had more time to incubate. There's lots of magic on this record. I'm looking forward to pushing on and listening to the SACD and the DVD video this week from the Green Box, the European version of the Green Box. Alright, so I've had a chance to listen to the LP, US pretty early pressing LP of Nursery Cryme, the Super Audio CD stereo layer, the Super Audio CD 5.1 layer, the DVD video, DTS, and Dolby Digital layers. So for those who don't know, viewers for quite a long time have been asking me to go through Genesis in surround. Genesis is one of those rare groups that I believe every single one of their official studio albums has been released in surround, like their whole catalog. Talking Heads did it. Björk has come close. But anyway, Genesis, I don't know if you call Genesis to Revelation like an official album because it's been renamed a bunch of times. It seems like it's more of a quasi-official type of thing. Alright, so anyway, they issued all of their albums in surround, and you can get a green box, a blue box, and a red box. And there are 3 different eras of the band. And then you can also get a gray box, which is videos. You can get a dark charcoal box, which is live audio. So I'm going through Genesis in surround. I started with Trespass, which is the first surround album from the Green Box, and I, for many of the Genesis albums, have the European version, which has an SACD and a DVD instead of a CD and a DVD, which is how the American versions shipped. Why, I don't know. Maybe to cut down on costs, maybe at the time SACD wasn't popular in the United States, I don't know. But anyway, for albums that I love, I have made the effort and the sacrifice to track down the SACD version. Alright, so there is an accusation, like if you read through some of the Genesis surround threads over on quadrophonicquad.com, that maybe Tony Banks ordered for Steve Hackett's parts to be mixed down in some of these early records. And at least for Nursery Cryme, I simply don't hear that. In 5.1, I hear, yes, more Tony Banks. Instead of maybe one key Tony Banks part, you realize that he recorded 2 or 3 or 4 layers for certain sections of certain songs. So there's certainly more Tony Banks. He has more room to breathe. But there's also more Steve Hackett. And it's kind of on a case-by-case basis. Like in certain passages, I realize that there are layers of guitars, and that's not always just Steve Hackett, because Tony Banks and Mike Rutherford were also playing guitar at the time. There are some songs on this album where you are surrounded by 4 different guitar parts. It's basically guitar, 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 and then vocal up ahead of you. For Absent Friends and Harlequin, I believe. So, or maybe Seven Stones. There are some luscious, wonderful guitar moments. Genesis at this time is characterized by at least dual, sometimes triple 12-string guitars. Just an enormous guitar sound. You have Phil Collins in the group now. You have Steve Hackett in the group now. So this is the first album from the ultra classic lineup. Peter Gabriel led, Phil Collins on drums, Mike Rutherford, Tony Banks, Steve Hackett on guitar. And this lineup will go on to create around a half dozen just completely magical records. And that's a rare feat in the music world. It's a very special run of records that we'll be going over together for the next several weeks. Alright, so LP versus SACD, I would give the sonic edge to the SACD, particularly SACD stereo. I probably don't have the best copy. It sounds like it's been played quite a bit, but I'm just getting more detail out of the SACD. Like I've said, the 5.1 mix gives the parts more breathing room. I believe this was an 8-track recorded album, and even though it doesn't have, quite as many overdubs as the 16-track and 24-track albums that will come soon, this really does fill up the surround field marvelously. You have Phil Collins spread across the fronts a lot of the time, but drumming and percussive parts of other kinds also make their ways back into the surrounds. Not to mention Peter Gabriel's tambourine play. And then you are liable to have Moog, organ, mellotron, piano, and just all kinds of keys in any channel at any time. And that also goes for acoustic, 6 and 12 string, and electric guitars, both clean and dirty. Phil Collins brings a nice singing voice to the group as well. You get a lot of vocal overdubs. You get a lot of front channel, surround channel kind of interplay between Peter Gabriel and Phil Collins. And he even sings lead vocal on a song here for Absent Friends. So this is a great record. I think I still mildly prefer Trespass, but now the good news is it's on to Foxtrot. And Foxtrot is, if I recall, the first Peter Gabriel era record that I somehow obtained. I think I liked the cover of it in the record store, and I was listening to it and just got enchanted by kind of the medieval flavor of it. And then of course supper's ready, right? Supper's ready. So anyway, it's on to Foxtrot. I appreciate you watching. Nursery Cryme is awesome. Whether you have the American version with the CD or the European version with the SACD, you're in good shape. I would give the sonic edge slightly to the SACD, but the DTS and the Dolby Digital 5.1 versions sound pretty good. And then in any case, on the DVD, you also get the reissue interview. And Peter Gabriel, Phil Collins, Tony Banks, Mike Rutherford, and Steve Hackett all give their opinions and their recollections of the album making process, and so it's actually a pretty nice viewing. So anyway, Genesis, I just am eternally grateful that they decided to put out their catalog in surround. Sonically, the mastering so far for Trespass and Nursery Cryme, it's fair to say that I haven't found the mastering very crankable so far. I get the sense that I would like to push these albums a little harder, pump them a little harder on my system, but they're already beginning to sound a tiny bit edgy, and I don't want to push that too much to keep them enjoyable. I feel like maybe they were mastered a tiny bit too hard. So anyway, very grateful that they exist, though. Very cool surround experience at many, many moments. Definitely looking forward to Supper's Ready. Thanks for watching. Like, subscribe, ring the notification bell, leave comments, share videos. Thank you for all your support. And until Foxtrot, live life in stereo or surround.